Well, hey, welcome back. Today's episode, working on the Impala. Got a lot of stuff going on, but I noticed something on the Impala that it needs attention. Let me show you. So it's been in the garage now for the last, I don't know, haven't really drove it in the last month. A little longer, 6 weeks, something like that. Pulled it in and out a couple times and noticed, you can see, there's a puddle underneath it. Well, if you remember on Power Tour, we ended up having water pump failure, catastrophic water pump failure. Not really catastrophic, it just, heater core actually went out. And it took the water pump out with it. So with that, we did this little doodabber for a sending gauge. We put a loop on the heater core back here, right down in there. And, you know, new water pump. Well, it was weeping out water from here a little bit. You can kind of see a little bit. But if it was weeping out of there onto the floor, it'd be right there. You can see maybe it was, but that's not where our current wet spot is. Where is it at? Oh my goodness gracious, it's right at the lower hose. Now some of you might be thinking, well, you just feel the hose. Well, the hose is dry. It's just not running down. So we got a problem down in that lower part, bottom of that radiator. Also, to recap, a year ago, put this cold case radiator in because it was so amazing. Had to have it. That was a pain to put in. But here we are. So my fear, maybe it vibrated, punctured a hole in it, or I just had a loose hose clamp on the lower radiator hose. Why would I think that? Because when we did it, I just used the factory clampy style hose clamps when I put new hoses on. Could that be the issue? I don't know. Could be. But we're going to dive into that today. Also, because I'm feeling generous, I'm going to rip the whole intake off again. Because my oil leak, I do believe, is coming from the rear china wall area of that intake. So we are going to pull the intake off again and put a thicker bead than I did on there. Hopefully happens. So I got new intake gaskets. Got the new oil dipstick I still haven't put on yet. We'll put that on. I probably should order up a heater core hose and a heater core. But I have a feeling this is going to be more than just a afternoon project. So I'm going to start by pulling the intake off, all the cold air intake stuff. Pull the top part of the radiator off. I also do have those two new fan motors. They're going to be in there. Might as well throw them in. Here we go. So for the record, Jacko Pumpkin Ale by Sam Adams tastes like Coca-Cola pumpkin. It's not good. Well, quick search will tell you, it ain't the rear hose or the lower hose. It's probably, wondering if that bushing came apart. And more than likely, we now have a hole in our radiator somewhere. Cool. Well, guess we're pulling it out. I'm going to start by draining out this coolant. There's a widgemagoo right here. And that allows for the fluid to fluid out. Get whatever catch apparatus you can. I have a bucket. Oh. feel like I was doing this here recently. I wonder when that was. Well, that's relieving itself. I'm going to unhook the battery. Probably just toss it off to the side for right now because it's not like we're going to need it anytime soon. I'm going to remove this upper shroud. If I remember right, half inch, half inch, half inch, half inch. Comes right off. We're going to pull our upper hose off. Maybe. Well, hopefully the level gets down far enough. And probably honestly just put it all the way off, put it to the side because we're going to be totally in there here shortly. Then we're going to pull the cooling fans off. And if I remember right, those were fun because I had to rig those on. Yay. Okay, it's a good thing that I've done this handful of times. Upper and lower hose is off, transmission lines are off, oil cooler lines are off. Started unbolting the fans and I realized, oh yeah, I had to put those on when I had it out. Anyways, we should be able to lift her right out. We got a lot of coolant still in there. Gotta catch that. It's like Pokemon, catch them when you can. That wasn't so bad. Anyways, let's look at this radiator and see what's up with it. Well, this was the side it was leaking on. I can't see nothing visibly wrong other than in here we got some discoloration in the fins. So I'm almost wondering if we're leaking from there. I don't know. Doesn't look good. So I got some emails into Cold Case, see what's up with that, but apparently it's got a lifetime warranty on it. I don't know. Anyways, now we're on to change this water pump neck. If you remember the one that's on there, when we go to change out the water pump was pitted. I got a new one. Let's open it up. And there it is. Kind of looks like the same. Sure. That one is pitted around here. It's leaking. It did come with this gasket, and I don't remember putting this gasket on the other one. Because I don't think it has one. I think the gasket is on the water pump, or on the thermostat. Let's get the 8 mils out and crack that open. So 8 mils. I did already crack them loose. I wonder how much coolant's going to spill out of this thing. Shouldn't much because it's lower than this when it's open, but oh yeah, she was hermetically sealed on because I forgot we sealed her on. So I'm gonna try to save this because this is my 160 thermostat. Someone's having fun. And you can see we glued it on there to help get us through power tour. See if we can get it off. So I got it out. You can see it's pitted pretty good right in there and over here. Basically where all the 90-minute fast set Permatex was wanting to go into. So I need to find another one of these. I know I got a gasket laying around somewhere. We'll install the new one. I feel like I should get an electric water pump for this or something. You know, if I can find one. Okay, new thermostat installed. Suppose I'm going to put this paper gasket on because, sure. And I don't like how it sits on there though, but maybe? Then maybe? I guess so. See what it does. It'll be the first time it leaked on me. Oh, bad dad joke. Shut up, Chris. Not funny. Can't say shut up. I just did. So, I'm going to fill the radiator up on the stand here. See if we get any drips overnight. And if we do, already got in touch with Cold Case there. They're going to work with me, I think, on getting something squared away, but I'm going to triple, quadruple check and make sure I'm not an idiot. Which very well could be. Okay, she's filled with water. I did drip a little bit. To the top, both sides. So I'll let this sit for 24 hours and we'll see what kind of drips, if any, we get out of the radiator. Might go buy one of those pressure testers too and, you know, test it. Might clean up, probably call it a night. Be back tomorrow. Well, it is about a couple weeks later. Yeah, finally back working on this thing. And Cold Case got back to me. Those guys are awesome to work with. Here's the old one. Right there. He sent me a brand new one. Now, had to go through, show them where it was leaking at, and pay for shipping and whatever else, but they came through on their promise. Yeah, got a brand new radiator. What ended up happening is somewhere up in there, I think, I filled it up and it was a very slow drip. I don't know. Anyways, so we got a brand new Cold Case radiator put in. I got the fans off of this one, as you can see. Got to take the brackets off, put them onto the new one, put our other fittings on, get that all going, and then we'll just stab her in right there. Before we stab it in, we're going to be diving into all the other little odds and ends of the stuff that needs to be addressed, which heater core, that's on order, because I was just lazy and just finally got around to ordering it. So that'll be here in a couple days. Well, we got to fix the heater core lines because we snipped them. And I don't really like this thing. Got me through in a pinch, but I don't like it too much. Kind of ugly. So, do I enjoy the mechanical gauge inside the car? Yeah. Showed me what I needed to do, but the other one's working. It's worked for many years before that, so we're just going to go back to that. So I did get asked a couple times on how did I even think to do that. Well, when you're in a pinch, you got to do whatever you got to do. And all I did is we pulled this sensor off because this is the one for the fans to, you know, kick on and off. It's stock. Took this to the local parts store, and the screws onto the water pump right there. We found a piece of pipe that would fit into there. Just came out 2 inches, 3 inches, whatever that is. Got a T. Did the one for this side that fit in, and I knew that this was going to fit into it because it's, you know, the same threading. And then we just put it in, and then ran it up into the cab. Of course, we couldn't get it through the firewall, so it's gaudy like that. But it worked. So that's really it in a nutshell. There's no secret behind it. It is what it is. So now I will say, like I mentioned, this wasn't a permanent solution fix. It was just a temporary. And that's exactly why. Because you get that glycol in there and it starts corroding in there and it turns to the Titanic and everything else. So not a very good long-term solution. Decent for short-term. You always want to use brass. So if you can, use brass. So I'm going to double check, make sure that the housing's okay. And then we'll change it up. I guess aluminum's fine too, but yeah, definitely not good. So don't do what I did and break the end off. Well, we're back from doing our heater core. Now we're on to removing the intake that I've been neglecting to do. Basically because the Edelbrock one that's on there, I don't like it. I don't trust it. I'm pulling it off. I'm going to go back with the original stock one. And yeah, you can see it's really gummed up, greased up. So what I'm going to do, take some Purple Power. I'm going to let this thing soak here. I'm going to take my pressure washer, pressure wash it because it's a nice day here. And then while that's doing its thing, I'm going to rip off the old one. Apparently squirt bottle sucks. Oh well. So I'm going to degrease it really well. Let that sit. Get it on with the pressure washer. So now throttle body's off. Pull off all the injectors, wires, any hoses, vacuum boost, just as it says. Pull all those off that are connected to the actual car itself. Then you can start removing. We have, I think there's 8 per side, 9/16, 14 mils, all the way through. You're gonna have to remove the EGR valve in the back, and then the hookup for the exhaust manifold on the other side. And yeah, you just pry that bad boy out. So I pulled my fuel rail off, get those injectors out. Something's amiss here. Something is amiss. So I'm guessing those are probably now in the intake somewhere, maybe. Hopefully they're still in the intake. We don't want them to fall in. So, and I'm probably gonna end up having to use my old injectors now because I don't think there's any salvage in those. Okay, this side is almost done. I think I said there's 8, but there's only 6. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's 1 in the back that I have to get still. 6. I'm gonna get the EGR valve off while I'm here. I got my wire harness ported up, fuel lines off, throttle cables off, throttle brackets off. That had to come off to get to that one, just FYI. keep digging away. And for shits, I just pulled that off, threw it off to the side. Okay, so we got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 way in the back. 6. Got our EGR port thing undone. Also lost my 1/2-inch stubby down on the transmission tunnel, so didn't hear it fall into the concrete. Best part about that is when I start driving the car again, all of a sudden I hear something fall off the car. I'm going to get paranoid and think it was something with the car, but it's actually going to be that wrench that I just lost. Anyways, we got this one, had a little stud on it, like so, because it had a nut on the top to our cooler line thing. Yeah, we're ready. We're ready. There's no other little things. All we got to do is start prying, break the China wall seals, get this SOB off. And for that, I got pry bars. I'm going to do it with pry bars. But before we go all crazy, oh, let me show you what I got done with the intake. Cleaned up somewhat. Got another Purple Power soak on it. It's actually going to turn out pretty darn good. Made sure to really get it inside the tunnels there, both front and rear. Blasted the pressure washer on it and just cleaned it up. So I'm gonna hit this maybe, I don't know, maybe this will be the last time. I'll see how it turns out after I wash it now, and then we should be good. Had a guy comment that he couldn't see any action, so now you guys are up close seeing some action. Yeah. Well, how do you want to do this? Just on the side of the block? Bend the valve covers? Sure. How did I do it last time? I don't remember. It was a different intake. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to just kind of get on it right here. Get on it. Oh yeah, listen to it come apart. Maybe I gotta get a smaller screwdriver and tap it in. Sure. Just like so. Like I planned it. Now we can get underneath here with our big boy. Don't let that fall down the motor. We can pry that guy out. Sure. Won't pry out because I missed a bolt. Idiot. How could you do that? Simple. Because I was trying to film a YouTube and get it done in a rush. Hopefully I didn't loosen it up. I don't think I had it that loose. Now it's here. No one. Okay, make sure you get them all out. FedEx is across the street. 1, 2, 3, go! Off. It's off. And I can see our injector nozzles are stuck. Not good. So right there, looks like dummy me didn't put enough China wall seal on there. I didn't clean up the surface good enough because it, you know, looks like that's where our leak was coming from the entire time. Lesson learned. Put lots and 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 lots of RTV on there. Okay, got it mostly scraped off. Got a little bit more to do back there. Front's pretty well done. I am going to pull off the oil pressure sensor sending thinger. And I'm going to seal up down there like I should have last time I was in here, but I didn't. So yeah, I'm gonna pop that off because it's here and it's the only way to get it out is now. Okay, so I went through and I reinstalled that, I cleaned it all up, resealed up the threads. I'm actually using that gasola stuff again instead of actual pipe tape. Hopefully it works better than what it did before, but yeah. So seems to dry out pretty well, stays soft, pliable, but we'll see. So that's on there. Actually got to give it another twist. It's a little bit off. I'm gonna do that, finish cleaning up all around here, and then we'll get ready to drop the intake on. Okay, now that I've gone through, cleaned up everything, make sure all little fuzzy lints and everything that might have fallen in there are out, vacuumed it out. Install the intake gaskets on the right side. Gonna build like a bead lock on each 4 corners. We'll put the China wall on, and we'll set the intake on. Well, shit. Snapped off 2 in the GM intake after it got cleaned off, trying to put the baffle back on. But the good news is it cleaned up really nice. So I guess I'm putting this on the shelf and we're going back to using the Edelbrock one. Well, with any luck, that should be a nice thick bead front and back. I hope that it does what it needs to do. So now let's go ahead and get the intake dropped on there. Start snugging this bad boy down. Now, just like last time, we're gonna snug them in a kind of a crisscross applesauce pattern, and if I remember right, it's like 38 foot-pounds of torque. Yeah. So let's get to it. Start here. We'll lower that one. So this Victor Rene's gasket kit came with a new crush gasket for the exhaust side, new fuel injector rings, and a new throttle body gasket. So that's kind of nice. I'm gonna go ahead and throw all this on, fish out my old injectors out of there because I popped the ones out from here, and as I mentioned, the little plastic things kind of got destroyed when I popped them out. So guess get what you pay for. For those of you still watching, thank you. I appreciate it. I know it's just kind of me rambling about odds and ends and stupid stuff and whatever else, but thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. It's kind of interesting. You guys get a kick out of an Impala C10. Nope. Suburban C10. That's what I was looking at when I was thinking. Anyways, thanks for watching. Let's get back into this. Get this thing buttoned up. So I got all the new old injectors taken off, and I got the old new ones put back in, the stock ones, you know, because they're not broke like this. I don't know what I'm gonna do with those. But I just put them in a bag and put them on a shelf like I had the other ones. Yep. Well, starting to look more and more like a LT1 again. Got the injectors all installed, the intake's snugged down, fuel rails in there, covers on, everything's bolted back up. Emissions, lines are connected, cable, throttle cable. Yeah, you know the deal. Time to move on to the radiator. Of course, Cold Case sent me a new one. The old one is, you know, it was leaking. So let's get this thing done. Well, here we are. Radiator's all in, put back together. Point of filling up now. The old one's out, so now I'm just gonna fill her up. Left this hose off, so I'm gonna fill it till it starts puking out here, and then at least I know a majority of the air is up here, and I can try to get it burped. So, time to fill. Next day. Oh, shocking. Anyways, I got coolant filled up in there. No leaks overnight. Our intake gasket sealant pretty much firmed up. Almost that 24-hour mark. Will be here in a couple hours. Still need to do a couple things. Intake's got to get put back on. We got to put that oil dipstick tube on. Those who don't remember, oil dipstick tube is right there, fishes through the headers. Got a 10 mil. We got to drop the starter. So let's do that. Okay, new one's in, got clearance. I actually did something I probably gonna regret, but I did it anyway. And I cut off some end of it. Now, whatever. It fit. It was still a pain in the ass, but I got it. Well, after, I don't know, a couple months of not driving this thing, it's back together. So let's see if it fires up. I'm guessing that I probably forgot something, and something's going to happen where it's not going to work. We got coolant in it, but let's fire it up and see what it does. Maybe. I don't know. It's been giving me fits. Prime your fuel injector. So, oh, come on. So far, I'm going to let it warm up and do its thing. You got to check the heater core too. Back this thing out. Well, we got heat coming out of our vents. It's a plus. We're getting there. Plus no leaks on that. Starting to get steam on the coolant. That's good. Okay, switched over to the air conditioner. I got one cooling fan kick in. We got our temp is starting to rise. That's good. Means we didn't screw that gauge up when we put that oil thingamajigger in there. Cool. So that's still on. I don't know if that's primary or secondary. So for whatever reason, we got some seepage going on right there. Have to address that out of that new drain delver. And overflow is hot, but we're kind of pegged out. We're getting warm on our temp gauge. As you can see, it's climbing. It's never really that high. And usually that means we have airlock somewhere. So I'm guessing it's in the radiator because the radiator is empty. This side is bone cold. This side is hot. So we got airlock going on in there. We're not getting our convection going on. Let this thing cool off. Try to burp it out a couple times. Should be able to just bubble it, burp it with that. I gotta pull that hose off. I'll pull that hose off and maybe just fill the radiator up from the hose. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Usually you do a vacuum, but I don't know. I guess there you go. I just cracked the bleeder valve here and I got quite a bit of air coming out, so we'll bleed all this air out and hopefully we can get it to cycle through. So I was able to pull this off here and obviously nothing's really coming out. Well, it is a little bit, but we got to fill it up. We got to get the air bubbles out of this hose is what our problem is. So I'll try to carefully block that, fill that, and we'll see what we can get done. Well, poop. Blue wine. Guess should have known that wine gonna dump. So I guess we gotta figure that out. Well, we are cruising, as you can tell. Seem to be okay. Temps underneath half. Let me show you that. So I guess that's good. Usually it was over pegged off to the left. I don't know what the deal is with that, but it's not overheating. And I got the air conditioner on because it's like 80 and it seems like it's going down. So let's give her a little test cruise here and see how she does. Remember my wrench that I said was going to fall out? Well, she just fell out. Got her EGR port thing undone. Also lost my 1/2 inch stubby down on the transmission tunnel, so didn't hear it fall into the concrete. Best part about that is when I start driving the car again, all of a sudden I hear something fall off the car. I'm going to get paranoid and think it was something with the car, but it's actually going to be that wrench that I just lost. Oh, let's see if we can find it. Oh, it was right around here somewhere. Oh, where, oh, where? Where, oh, where? Oh, there it is. There it is. See little buddy. Wasn't going to leave you behind. I got pegged when it went over. Huh. Interesting. Maybe my gauge is now an issue, and I got to figure that whole thing out again. Great. Cool. Awesome. So that's what I came up with for that repair. That little plastic piece broke like they all do. I'm gonna let this thing sit here, see if we get any more drips. Probably get a couple because it's, you know, residual from oil. It's significantly slowed down though. That's nice. Yeah. So replace that piece because it breaks. Really quick. Took the Impala on a couple little spins here, and we got no drippages going on down there. No oil, nothing. And she is shined up like a red-headed stepchild. Yummy. So that one is going to do it. Thanks everyone for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, comment below. I'm going to clean the garage. See ya.